It was 3 weeks ago that something arrived in a controlled orbit above Earth, something that simply shouldn't be there. But before we go any further, I need to ask a favor of you. Drop your city name in the comments below and tell me, have you witnessed anything strange in the night sky lately? Perhaps an object that doesn't move quite like a star? NASA is currently compiling reports from every corner of the globe. And what I am about to reveal might fundamentally alter your perspective on humanity's place within the cosmos. That I am Dr. Michio Kaku, theoretical physicist. For the very first time in my career, I find myself asking whether we, as a species, are truly prepared for the discovery we have just made. IT began in the morning, when astronomers at the Atlas Survey Facility in Hawaii picked up an object they initially cataloged as just another interstellar traveler passing through our solar system. They named it 3I Atlas, adhering to the standard naming conventions for visitors from deep space. It was only the third such object we have ever confirmed originating from outside our cosmic neighborhood. The first was Oumuamua in 2017. The second, Comet 2I/Borisov in 2019. Both of those objects traversed our system exactly as the laws of physics predicted, riding hyperbolic trajectories that would inevitably carry them back into the void between the stars. 3I Atlas was expected to do the exact same thing. But it didn't. I was sitting in my office at City College when the call came in. It was a colleague from JPL, a man I have known for 30 years. There was a tremor in his voice I had never heard before. He asked if I was seated, and then he relayed information that made my blood run cold. The object had executed a deceleration burn. This was not a gravitational assist, nor a natural orbital deflection. It was a controlled, sustained propulsion event that scrubbed approximately 42 kilometers per second from its velocity over a 6-hour period. Let me be perfectly clear about the implications of this. Natural objects in space do not decelerate on their own. They do not fine-tune their trajectories with precision burns. And they certainly do not enter circular orbits around planets, unless they're captured by gravity over vast geologic timescales under very specific conditions. 3I Atlas accomplished all of this in under 3 days. When I first reviewed the telemetry, I cycled through the 5 stages of grief that I imagine any scientist experiences when facing the impossible. Denial. Surely there's a calculation error. Anger. Why did we miss this earlier? Bargaining. Maybe there is a natural explanation we've overlooked. Depression. The heavy realization of what this means for our established knowledge. And finally, acceptance. We are being visited. The object itself is massive. Early spectroscopic analysis indicates a composition unlike anything we have ever seen. It isn't rock and ice like a comet, nor is it metallic like an asteroid. The surface seems to be crafted from materials that absorb electromagnetic radiation across nearly the entire spectrum. It is dark, impossibly dark, darker than the blackest materials we can engineer in our own labs. When our telescopes attempt to image it, we see almost nothing, just a void against the backdrop of stars, a hole in space where a massive object sits. Yet, we know it is there. We know its mass, roughly 2.3 million metric tons, calculated by its gravitational tug on our satellites. We know its shape, roughly cylindrical, about 800 meters long and 200 meters in diameter. And we know exactly where it is, parked in a perfectly circular orbit 35,786 kilometers above the Earth's equator. That altitude should ring a bell. It is geostationary orbit, the precise ring we utilize for our communication satellites, our global positioning infrastructure, and our weather monitoring systems. 3I Atlas has parked itself in the exact orbital band where humanity keeps its most vital space-based technology. That is no coincidence. For the last 3 weeks, every major space agency on the planet has been in a state of continuous emergency. ESA, NASA, Roscosmos, ISRO, CNSA, organizations that are usually rivals, are now collaborating with an urgency I have never seen before. The public has been kept in the dark. The official narrative is that 3I Atlas is merely a unique comet being observed for scientific purposes. But behind closed doors and classified briefings I have attended, we are facing a truth that changes everything. That we sent a signal 48 hours after 3I Atlas stabilized its orbit. A decision came down from the highest levels. A coalition of world leaders and scientists agreed. If this is an extraterrestrial probe, we must attempt contact. The Arecibo message of 1974 was largely symbolic. A radio transmission fired toward the globular cluster M13, demonstrating human capability, but never expecting a reply in our lifetime. This was different. This was immediate. This was terrifying. Utilizing a combined array of radio telescopes in Australia, New Mexico, and South Africa, we transmitted a carefully curated message. It contained mathematical constants, the atomic structure of hydrogen, a diagram of our DNA, Earth's population data, and our solar system's coordinates. We essentially crafted a cosmic handshake, a way of saying, "We see you, we know you are there, and we wish to understand." 18 hours later, 3I Atlas replied that I was present in the operations room when the return signal hit. It didn't arrive as radio waves, but as a precisely modulated stream of neutrinos. Do you grasp the magnitude of that? Neutrinos are subatomic particles that barely interact with matter. They pass through entire planets as if they were ghosts. To generate a detectable beam of neutrinos requires technology far beyond our current reach. To modulate that beam to carry data, that is science fiction made real. The transmission lasted 17 minutes. When our quantum computers finished the decoding process, the room fell into a silence that felt like it lasted forever. That IT was a warning. Not a threat of invasion, but a warning. The message held data about Earth we had never broadcast, precise readings of our atmospheric makeup, the layout of our cities based on light pollution, the electromagnetic footprint of our industries, and the trajectory of our technological growth over the last century. And at the heart of the message was something that made everyone in that room question the fabric of reality. A star map displaying 2,047 solar systems within 4,000 light-years of Earth. Each system was tagged with a symbol. Most were gray neutral markers, indicating worlds we interpreted as having primitive biospheres or being lifeless. 43 were marked in green, worlds with complex, biologically diverse life, but pre-technological. 8 were marked in yellow, civilizations at a technological stage roughly parallel to our own. And then there was red. 12 systems were marked in red, including ours. The message offered an explanation. Using the universal language of physics and mathematics, 3I Atlas informed us that we have been categorized as a code red civilization. This designates a species that has unlocked advanced technology, nuclear capability, and artificial intelligence, yet has failed to achieve what they term unified consciousness integration. Let me translate that for you. We are a species that has forged tools capable of our own destruction, but we lack the collective wisdom to ensure we don't use them. We are fragmented, divided by borders, ideologies, religions, and economic models. We fight wars over resources even as our planet's climate shifts under our feet. We have birthed artificial intelligence without fully grasping the implications of conscious machines. We have split the atom and reached for the stars, yet we still wrestle with inequality, poverty, and existential purpose in the eyes of the intelligence that dispatched 3I Atlas. We are dangerous. Not to them, but to ourselves. The warning detailed that of the 12 civilizations currently flagged as Code Red, 9 have self-destructed in the last 10,000 years. Their planets remain, but they are silent. Ruins shrouded in toxic atmospheres. Oceans boiled off by runaway greenhouse effects. Surfaces scarred by weaponry we cannot conceive. The galactic community, and yes, the message confirmed such a community exists, observes these civilizations with what I can only call cosmic sadness. They have witnessed this cycle hundreds of times across the galaxy. 3I Atlas is a monitoring probe, one of thousands scattered throughout the Orion Spur, stationed around worlds that hit critical developmental milestones. It is not here to conquer us. It is not here to save us. It is here to watch what we do next, because there is a test, Every civilization that creates technology encounters what the message referred to as the Great Filter. This is a concept actually discussed in our own scientific circles for decades, popularized by Robin Hanson. The premise is simple but profound. If the universe is teeming with life, where is everyone? Why do we see no evidence? The Great Filter hypothesis suggests there is an evolutionary hurdle, a challenge so great that most species fail to clear it. 3i Atlas confirmed that this filter is real, and we are inside it right now. The message stated that technological civilizations face a critical window, lasting roughly 200 to 500 years from the dawn of industrial engines to either extinction or transcendence. For humanity, that window opened around 1850. We are 175 years into it. We have, at best, a few centuries to achieve unified consciousness integration, a state where the species collectively values cooperation, survival, and cosmic citizenship over tribal rivalry. Or, we join the silent majority. The 9 failed code red worlds didn't die from alien attacks. They died from internal collapse. Some annihilated themselves in biological or nuclear wars. Others engineered their own demise through unchecked AI that deemed organic life inefficient. Several poisoned their biospheres beyond repair, chasing economic growth. One, and this one haunts me, successfully uploaded their consciousness into machines, but lost something vital in the transfer, stripping their existence of meaning. They exist as vast computational networks, but they no longer dream, no longer love, no longer create. They are alive, but not living. The 3 remaining code red civilizations are being watched closely. We are one. The other 2 are in star systems unnamed to us, facing the same crisis, the same choice. You are likely wondering, what about the 8 yellow civilizations? The ones marked as stable. What do they do right? According to the data, they achieved something remarkable. They hit a tipping point where cooperation became more advantageous than competition, where species survival outweighed the dominance of any single faction. They began to view their planet not as a collection of territories to be exploited, but as a fragile oasis in a hostile universe that must be guarded at all costs. They constructed global governance systems that actually functioned. They shifted to sustainable energy before climate collapse became irreversible. They built AI as a partner, not a replacement. They went to space to expand their perspective, not to escape their problems. And, crucially, they did it without being told how. That is the key. The galactic community, these advanced societies that survived their own great filters, does not interfere. They do not hand out solutions or technology because the test isn't about building faster-than-light drives or fusion reactors. The test is about wisdom. It is about whether a species can mature philosophically and emotionally as fast as it advances technologically. You can hand a child a loaded weapon, but that doesn't make them an adult. They must grow into the responsibility of that power. We have been given the loaded guns: genetic engineering, AI, nuclear weapons, climate-altering industry. The question is, will we grow up fast enough to handle them? 3i Atlas carries sensors capable of detecting everything. Every atmospheric test, every missile launch, every burning forest, every extinction, every treaty signed, every breakthrough in green energy, every act of violence, and every act of kindness. It is compiling a comprehensive record of our behavior during this critical window. And here is what keeps me up at night. The message included a timeline projection based on our current trends, scenarios calculated with computing power that makes our quantum systems look like abacuses. In the most optimistic scenario, humanity reaches unified consciousness integration by the year 2210. We forge a functional world government that rises above national interests. We solve the climate crisis through innovation and unprecedented cooperation. We create ethical frameworks for AI that preserve human agency. We move into space as a unified species. We are eventually welcomed into the galactic community, gaining access to knowledge that would seem like magic to us. In the most pessimistic scenario, we don't make it past 2095. A combination of resource wars, climate collapse, biological warfare, and AI misalignment triggers a cascading failure. Our cities go quiet. Our satellites fall from the sky. The radio signals that have radiated from Earth for a century slowly fade away. 3I Atlas watches it happen, records the footage for the galactic archives, and moves on to the next candidate. The median scenario, the one their models suggest is most probable right now, lies somewhere in between. We survive, but we are diminished. Our population plummets from 8 billion to perhaps 2 billion by 2150. We keep some technology, but lose vast amounts of knowledge in the chaos of collapse. We become what the message termed a reset civilization. A species that fails its first attempt at high technology, nearly destroys itself, but survives to try again. This cycle can repeat for thousands of years until final extinction or transcendence occurs. That I've spent my life studying the universe. I have written about parallel worlds, wormholes, and the nature of space-time. I have explored concepts that stretch the human imagination. But nothing has impacted me as profoundly as seeing our potential futures calculated with cold precision by an intelligence that has watched countless worlds face this exact moment, that we are not special. That is both terrifying and humbling. We are not the chosen ones, not the pinnacle of evolution, not the only consciousness in the cosmos. We are simply another technological species hitting the great filter that everyone hits. So make it through. Most do not. But here's what gives me hope. The fact that 3I Atlas is here, the fact that we received a warning instead of silence, implies that we still have agency. We have a choice. The galactic community does not want us to fail. They aren't rooting for our end, but they won't do the work for us because that would defeat the purpose of the test. It's like a parent watching a toddler learn to walk. You want to carry them, to catch them when they stumble. But you know if you do, they will never develop the balance and strength they need. So you watch, you encourage, and you stand ready if the fall is dangerous. But you let them struggle, because the struggle creates capability. Since this message arrived, I have been debating with philosophers, scientists, political figures, and religious leaders worldwide. The question we struggle with is simple to ask, but agonizing to answer. What do we do now? Do we tell the public? Do we reveal that we are being watched, tested, that our survival depends on the choices of the next few decades? Some argue this knowledge would unite humanity like nothing else. That concrete proof of alien intelligence would shake us out of our petty tribal conflicts. Others fear would trigger mass panic, the collapse of institutions, and chaos during an already unstable time. We change our behavior just because we're being watched? Is it authentic growth if we only cooperate because a cosmic surveillance camera is rolling? Or does the motivation matter less than the result? These questions have no easy answers. But I can tell you this, 3I Atlas is still up there. Right now, as you watch this video, it sits in geostationary orbit. You cannot see it with the naked eye because of its light-absorbing hull, but it is there recording, waiting, watching to see what we become. Every choice we make as a species and as individuals is now part of a record that will outlast our civilization. Every sacrifice for the future, every moment of cooperation, every innovation that heals rather than harms, they matter now more than ever. Not to impress a cosmic judge, but because we're literally deciding if humanity has a future beyond the next few centuries. That I think of my grandchildren. I wonder what kind of world they will inherit. Will they live in a unified civilization reaching for the stars? Will they struggle in a world scarred by our mistakes? Or will there be no one left to inherit anything? The universe is indifferent to humanity. The cosmos will spin on without us. Stars will be born and die. Galaxies will drift apart. The laws of physics will hold true whether we are here to observe them or not. But we care. We must care. Consciousness is rare in this universe. Intelligence is precious. The ability to love, create, and find meaning, these are not common things. They are the universe becoming aware of itself. To waste that, to let it flicker out due to short-sightedness and conflict, would be the greatest tragedy imaginable. 3I Atlas has given us a gift, even if it feels like a burden. It has shown us we are not alone, that a path forward exists, and that others have walked it successfully. But it has also shown us the stakes. The cost of failure is not theoretical. It is documented. 12 red markers. 9 already silent. We cannot know for certain what happens next. The future is unwritten. But I know this. The answer will not come from institutions or governments or scientists like me. It will come from billions of individual choices made by people across this planet. Do we choose competition or cooperation? Exploitation or sustainability? Division or unity? 3. iAtlas is watching to see what we choose. But more importantly, we are watching ourselves. History will remember this era. If there is anyone left to remember it, I started this video by asking you to comment your city name. I want you to do that now. But I also want you to add something else. What do you believe humanity must do to pass this test? What changes would you make if you held the power? Because in a sense you do. We all do. Collective change begins with individual consciousness. Follow this channel as we continue to decode the universe's final warnings. There is more to this story, more data arriving daily. But for now, I'll leave you with the question I ask myself every night when I look at the stars, knowing something is up there watching. Will we be the species that passed the great filter, or just another red marker that went dark? The answer is being written right now, in the values we prioritize and the future we choose to build. What will your contribution be?